The poems that I'm gonna read are included in We Are the Change Makers, and also in my debut collection, Soft Outspoken. Most of the poems that are in my debut collection were written during my psychiatric drug withdrawal process, with the exception of one of them. And most of those were written to my past self, with the exception of these poems that I'm going to read tonight, which were directed at the medical establishment and also to the military in the case of the second one. So there are going to be 3 pieces. The first one is called Jumpstart. The professionals act like the theft of half my life was no big deal because they didn't mean to. In a cloak of benevolence, under the guise medicine, help, undercover, and poof. 20 years gone, just like that. My anger, no longer a symptom once I left the reservation. So now what? I challenge their ideas and practices, me with my brain still just intact enough to recollect, me with anger enlivening my eyes while I sit in their waiting rooms like a threat. They try and calm me with kindness they bill for and take notes about, except I'm not in confession anymore. I know this is not my church. I've got to jumpstart my life like I've had to before and begin again and again and again. This poem is called Act of War. It's interesting because I have worked as a forensic medium since 2001 was the first case that I worked on. And part of, being a forensic medium is that I hear voices. That it's one of the most important parts of my job. I have to hear those voices in order to be able to communicate with the victims who have passed. So I'm now in this unique position to advocate for people who are the focus of investigations sometimes, that have psychiatric diagnoses, because sometimes my clients come to me now and they want to speak with me because I have, and I've been open about my psychiatric history. So they know that I have some insight, maybe a different perspective than they have on what it means to have a psychiatric diagnosis. So this is called Act of War. Your men raped a woman in uniform, and then again and again. One who offered you intelligence, service, so she could afford an education. Then you diagnosed her with a personality disorder. No, wait, don't tell me she had an underlying illness that hadn't been diagnosed, one that had went undetected before. She enlisted, ready to serve her country, and boy, did she ever, on her knees before you silenced her with a code that cannot be spoken aloud or printed for fear of reprisal? Was it 301.83? Was she angry, humiliated, made powerless by overwhelming force? Couldn't she contain herself anymore? Did she become hysterical? Was she terrified of you? Did you note her paranoia in shorthand on your yellow legal pad? Were you scared of her? Did she feel empty after you took everything away? Did she want to leave this earth, this life, after she realized who you really were and what you were capable of? Did she forget who she was? Could she still recognize her own reflection once you were finished using her? Did you find her behavior toward you inappropriate? Rape is an act of war, a form of torture. Was she your prisoner? Or was it 313.81? Was she rude? Didn't she follow your orders? Did she resent your men? Or did you consider that she said no at all, an act of insubordination? Your judgments translate into indelible codes that prevent her future employment. Or was she honorably discharged to protect your own? Tell me again that psychiatry isn't a form of social control, that you didn't intend for those codes to act as the kind of insurance that ensures silence you cannot buy any other way. This poem is called Fuck the DSM. Your medicine is like a weapon in disguise. Remote controlled every morning religion. It's no irony your pills look like the bullets they are. Dirty, dangerous. I thought I needed them like I thought I needed you, till I didn't anymore. He said having them was like having a gun in the house. We couldn't wait to get you out. I remember searching for a pill case that could fit all of the medicine you'd prescribed me so I could remember the regime, complicated routine, the chemical orchestra that helped line your pockets while you stole my time. Treatment, you called it, when it was you who poisoned me. Medicine, the thing that made me continue to make appointment after appointment about those supposed illnesses you voted on by committee. Fuck you and fuck the DSM.